All right, everybody, welcome to the Customer Engagement Lab Live. You'll notice that the chair next to me is missing a human being. He is not there. Where did he go? What happened to him? Well, I'll tell you briefly. He has decided to close deals because that's what Patrick Downs does, ladies and gentlemen. He is on his way over, but he had to wrap up a deal that he was closing. And so if you're just tuning in, you get to listen to the beautiful voice of Travis Tyler, the digital producer of PandaDoc's podcast. And we're here, we're live. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Settle in. I hope you have your coffee ready. And if you'd like to, and you're streaming in from LinkedIn, you are streaming in from YouTube, go ahead and type in some messages into the chat. And let us know what's going down and where you're calling in from. We are just excited to be here. It's been a crazy year, and things are starting to, things are starting to look a little bit better over here in Florida, where Patrick and I are calling in from, or Patrick's Ghost. Someone just posted, I like tuning in just to find out that Patrick is closing a deal. LFG. Hell yeah. Patrick told me he closed a $5,500 deal, and I assume when he gets here, he's going to be sweaty, he's going to be stressed, and that's the true life of a salesperson, everybody. So glad you guys are tuning in. And to get started, and I'm definitely going to have to play some of these videos for Patrick when he gets here. But I've been finding some pretty good stuff lately on the TikTok. And if you're just jumping in, I am going to be I love getting a message from the illustrious Richard Harris. Richard Harris, you are tuning in as a wonderful audience member. This is not the 5 on Friday. This is not that podcast. This is the Customer Engagement Lab live show. But yeah. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, and let's see how sweaty this guy is as he slams the door.
I'm so sweaty.
My man. Come on in, buddy. We're just getting settled in. All you got to do is sit your beautiful butt down and start talking into that microphone. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
You want to tell the people why you're a little bit late?
I just closed the deal.
Tell us about it. How did it go, man?
It went really well. New reps, they're still getting used to it. This one was at a lake. I didn't know that. He just added me to a call. And he was like, hey, can you join this call? Yeah, sure. Thought it was going to be a normal, I'll just be there for questions thing. No, he was at a lake. I was just connected on his phone.
I would just like to point out that you smell like bacon.
Oh, I just ate an arepa with ham.
So just throw those headphones on, Mr. Closing Deals.
Yes.
And we're going to open up the show. We've got people tuning in from LinkedIn. Feel free to tune in there or on our YouTube channel. And then, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just open this bad boy up for you. I have found this TikTok, and it made me think of you. Let me go ahead and just close out that. Happy Friday to Anna. What's up, Vicky? Hello. We are out here. We're having a good time. All right, man. You ready for this TikTok? I selected this just for you.
Yeah. Can you just share your screen with me?
I can.
All right.
I'm going to share my screen with everybody.
You got me a LaCroix.
I did, man. I did.
We're not going to check it.
My day job sure makes me depressed.
Are you feeling stuck at a dead-end job?
Yeah?
Have overambitious goals that you're struggling to accomplish?
Boy, howdy.
Do you often find yourself contemplating whether you're wasting your time pursuing the impossible?
All the time.
Yes?
Is there an afterlife?
I don't know.
Are you scared that you'll never amount to anything you hoped you would and that you'll die with your brief existence in this eternal space of infinite consciousness being completely pointless due to the inevitable explosion of the sun, which will destroy the entire galaxy, erasing all evidence of any humans ever existing, even though we'll probably be extinct by then anyway?
Yeah.
Do you have any solutions?
No, there's no solution.
Oh my God. Yes. You ever see something where you're like, how did you know all that about me? That I think those things? That's weird.
Working is it's unnatural. I think working a desk job and working the 9 to 5, it's tough. And I just want to let everybody know that we're out there. We care about you. If you're struggling, we hope that this is a place where you can have some fun. And then I've got this first segment I want to jump into, which was inspired by our 19-year-old SDR team lead, Jed. He posted something, and I wanted to talk with you about it.
Okay.
He posted a LinkedIn post that said, "As the great Abe Lincoln said, if I only had an hour to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 45 minutes sharpening my axe. This captures my prospecting philosophy perfectly. I'd rather spend more time up front finding warmer leads. So when I do reach out, my conversion rates are much higher." And then he had a couple of posts. Go check out jed.substack.com. It's a great newsletter that Jed puts together. But what I wanted to get your opinion on is basically like, I'm getting ready to run a project with one of our SDRs where we are going to test some creative video outreach. We're going to take...
Oh, yeah, with Haley.
Yeah, so for those of you that are just tuning in, Patrick and I are talking a little bit about an experiment that I'm getting ready to run with one of our sales reps through the month of July, where we're going to test out some Vidyard quick, funny, humorous videos that we're going to send via DM, we're going to send via email. And I was putting my SDR hat on as Haley and I were trying to figure out like what videos do we want to post, who are we going to prospect, what are we going to send them? And Jed had 3 ideas for how to find warmer leads. One is prospecting your executive team's connections.
Love that one.
The second one was prospects who previously worked for your company. And then the third one is prospects who previously worked for your competitor.
I was just talking about this with one of my reps because that last one to me is diabolically genius, because we've done this play for a while where we'll reach out to people that used to work at companies that bought PandaDoc in the past and are used to it. It's been really good. But I never thought about going like the opposite direction. People that sell against PandaDoc or did and are now somewhere else. And, a lot of the times when people leave a company, it's not always on the best terms. So reaching out to those people, they might be like, yeah, screw that place. Let's look at PandaDoc. And that's happened for him. He was telling me some stories about this play, and he said it's been like one of the best that he's done.
So specifically that last one you think is probably one of the strongest prospects who've previously worked for your competitor?
Think about it, man. Like especially if it's a salesperson that moved. Like that's what we're looking at, people in the sales department. They heard PandaDoc's name probably more than any other person in existence.
True.
Because they're selling actively against it. So who better to recognize our name when we reach out than them?
What do you feel about the executive team's connections? Do you feel like that's something, like if I were to, like Haley was to create a video and it's somebody that's connected with, one of our CEOs or CFOs, I was like, is that a good enough opener? Like, you can't just be like, hey, I saw you're connected to so-and-so. I thought I'd reach out. There has to be more of a purpose, right?
Yeah. I think you also need to note that at the very beginning, they might not know them. Like whenever I do something like this, like, hey, John, you might just be connected because you hit the connect button. But I saw that you're connected to Makita. Makita's been all about fighting the Goliaths of the software space and providing e-sign for people that need it in a good time. Is that something that you've been following?
I like that.
I would open it up that way and make it really light, because I feel like when you try to use something like somebody's following and you go too hard, it can come off as bad.
It makes me think too, like, hey, I saw we went to the same high school.
Yeah.
It's like, who gives a shit?
It can't just be, hey, Makita, do you want to buy PandaDoc? Like, that doesn't work.
And then, yeah, so we're getting ready to launch this study. Patrick and I always talk about like sales studies. This isn't anything.
What is this?
We're not submitting this to Deloitte. This is just like a fun experiment we're running. It's not like I'm A/B testing this with an IRB board and making sure that I have a double-blind study to make sure that the efficacy of my results is repeatable in other future studies. This is just like a sales study.
More like a survey.
Yeah, more like a survey.
More like a Family Feud.
And so like our tactic is basically going to be, and I wanted to get your feedback on it, which is, and if anyone is interested in Vidyard, they have an awesome new integration with LinkedIn DMs where you can just record a video right out of LinkedIn and send them instead of just doing the traditional voice memos. So a couple months ago, like we did an episode where I sent out a bunch of terrible like LinkedIn voice demos to somebody
As Morty.
Morty Smith. And I, so we're getting ready to run this, and we're trying to figure out our flow, right? Like we met with, we had a meeting yesterday with like a Vidyard coach, which was really cool. Someone to coach you on how to be good on video. Like first 3 seconds, he gave us like the 10-30-10 rule, which I thought was pretty cool and I wanted to share with you. Basically you have 10 seconds to capture their attention and get them to watch the next 30 seconds. I would say it's maybe even less than 10 seconds. You have 3 seconds in a video. And then you've got that 30-second window to kind of push your value prop. And then the last 10 seconds for like, okay, now what? Kind of like, what are you asking me?
Call to action.
Yeah. What are you asking for? What's my call to action here? What tips do you have for me and Haley as we are getting ready to embark on sending out tons of videos?
Yeah, it's interesting because that advice is pretty much like copywriting advice.
Yep.
Each sentence hooks you to the next and gets you to the end.
Shout out Mark Young from Dooley.
But I'd say 10-30-10 sounds good, but I'd say that's too many seconds.
Okay.
When I get prospected in video, if the video is longer than 15 seconds, I'm not watching it. Like I'd say you have 5-5-5.
And then something that came up too is Haley was like, "Oh, I'm not funny."
Oh yeah, you don't have to be funny.
But I kind of want her to attempt something to make them smile with this video, right? Like in my videos,
Haley, I'd be like, "Haley, what are you then if you're not funny?"
Ooh, okay.
And then use that.
Okay. Because I was like, yeah, I don't want you to be something you're not, because then it's going to really come off not powerful. And somebody's going to be like, yikes, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the chance that somebody will say, yikes, what is this about anything you do?
Shout out to Dan, who just commented saying, if there isn't a video of Jed dressed as Abe Lincoln used in this study, I'd say it's a missed opportunity. And I agree. Jed, can you grow a beard? Coming from a guy who can't grow a beard.
Let me hit him up on Slack real quick, see if we can get this before the end of the live.
And just as a comment, a classic Luke Ruffing comment on that LinkedIn post about sharpening your axe for 45 minutes. Luke responded with, I just find an easier tree to chop down.
I love that so much. It's such a Luke thing to say, because if you guys don't know Luke Ruffing, look him up on LinkedIn. He's what would you call that? The person that never goes with the grain.
Devil's advocate,
kind of like that. Yeah, he just goes the complete opposite of what you'd expect. So he's like, forget about the axe. What about the tree?
My dad said just get a bigger axe.
It's true. Or
Also,
get a shotgun.
Also an option. So in a couple minutes, we're going to have my dad join us on a call. I think I do need to change my sound settings because I don't know if I can hear him. So as I'm getting that ready.
What's up, Papa?
Let me show everybody one last TikTok here. I'm going to share my screen.
Can you send me a link, by the way? Okay, that's my daily life, which is why I'm trying to get out of internal meetings as much as possible. I'm like, I'm not high enough on the ladder to have a voice here, so I'm gonna go do something else.
Okay, let's see here. Let's make sure. All right. We are having my dad join us here. Rich Tyler, how's it going? Can we hear you?
Old guy.
No.
Can you hear
Let
me?
me see 1 second. I can't hear you, but that might just be my funky sound settings. All right, try again, Dad.
Testing 1, 2.
One more second.
Hello, hello. Maybe I should go out and come back in.
You're there.
Yeah, I
We're
just
on
got
the
to
same monitor.
change. I just got to change this real quick. All right, we should be able to hear you now, Dad.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Rich Tyler.
How's it going, man?
It's going good. Thanks
to
for
have
the
you join
invite
us.
to the old guy.
I was joking on our prep call that Rich Tyler sounds like a name so cool that only a scriptwriter would come up with it for like an 80s movie. Like, in comes the local hunk,
I don't
Rich
know.
Tyler, smoking a cigarette
He's gonna be
and playing an electric guitar.
comes in riding a motorcycle. He's wearing. Yeah, it really is like a 1950s kind of like Outsiders vibe name.
Yes.
I never even thought of it because
It
we
would be
always
like
just
too on
jokingly
the
called him
nose.
Dick Tyler.
That's even better.
It's like a real
Rich can't have a name that's not cool.
real American name. Welcome to the show, Dad.
Yes,
It's
welcome,
so
Rich.
great to have you. I'm excited to merge my personal life, guy I look up to and great father, with my professional life. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Cool.
And,
Yeah. So I think one of the first things that Patrick and I wanted to chat about you with is we put together a meme competition. Where basically, and when I first talked to you about this, Dad, you were like, I know what a meme is. And I don't think you did, which is
is
my
not.
favorite. which was my favorite. So let me share my screen real quick and pull it up. Okay, so we're gonna have you look through these business memes with us. Can you see this Futurama business meme that we're looking at, Dad?
I sure can.
Okay, so basically, to give you guys some context, we had Patrick on his LinkedIn ask for people to submit their favorite sales memes. So this one is Fry from Futurama, and says, "Not sure if 100 follow-up attempts is too much, or if I should keep trying." Do you know who that one was from?
No.
That's okay. We'll
look
figure
it
out
up.
who the winner is later. All right, so that's the first one, Dad. Let me go to the next one. This one says, "While you debated whether the glass is empty or full, I sold it." Cheers, the entrepreneur. Okay, the next one from our
Good.
friends over at Dooley. Dooley raises 80 million Series B. And we've got big, giant, super Doge and Dooley 20 million Series A. This is just a promo episode for Dooley.
Yeah, what's up, Dewey?
Dooley is another company that we hang out with a lot. This one is the Kermit the Frog and Star Wars crossover meme. Prospect doesn't answer. Me. I guess I'll try again when the next cadence step comes around.
I know who did this one. This is Gabe Glasser.
Me to me. Call again immediately.
That's my favorite so far.
This is Leo DiCaprio meme from what was the name of that movie?
Django.
Django Unchained. Me when someone says they make 100 calls per day. Oh yeah, sure you do. And then this next one is, some days I just want to reply emails with okay in this picture. Oh, this poor little girl.
That's how your email found me.
And then Dad, I already think I have a feeling this one will be one of your favorites because we already talked about SpongeBob yesterday. This is a SpongeBob meme where Squidward is looking out the window at Patrick and SpongeBob running out the window. Me watching my non-sales friends have fun while I'm stuck inside updating Salesforce. And then I think there's one more. They were a little small, so I might not have been able to get them. Let's see.
My favorite one is the one Jan made of me with the Chili Piper hat that I'm wearing right now, a PandaDoc shirt, and then it said "Hello, fellow kids," and it was the Steve Buscemi meme from Strangers with Candy.
Oh,
when he's
this
trying
one
to be
right
a
here.
teenager. Yeah. This is me trying to get business meme content.
So, Dad, for context, this is Steve Buscemi, who you've seen in many a movie, and they had him in some.
Strangers with Candy. It's like a show where this woman goes back to high school and she's pretending to be a teenager, but she's like in her 40s.
He's obviously like in his 60s,
Yeah.
pretending to be like a cool teenager. Patrick trying to fit in with everyone. There was one more, or a couple more in here. Hello, is it leads you're looking for? Is that Lando Calrissian or is that?
No,
That's not Lando Calrissian. Is that like an 80s music theme?
I'm pretty sure that's Lionel Richie.
Okay.
That's Lionel Richie.
Okay, well at least my dad knows this one and I don't. There's the generational gap.
Did you even raise this kid, Rich?
Yes, I did.
And then Dad, here I think, let's see, some of these are a little small. Let me see if I can zoom in. You're fired is like the first one. You're being let go. You've been promoted to customer.
Hopefully me someday.
And then let's see, coworker, casually dress my favorite. What does that say?
Software.
Oh, casually disses my favorite software. Me, my first knife fight. Oh.
This is when people come for Chili Piper.
You talk smack about other companies. And then let's see. Oh, this is probably one of my favorites.
It's good.
So like the classic email opener. I hope this email finds you well. How it found me smoking a cigarette, makeup running as I've been crying. I just look like a mess. All right, cool. So let's go ahead. Dad, which one really stood out to you as your favorite?
I like two of them were my favorite. Some of them look pretty darn funny. Yeah, I like Steve with the skateboard.
Jay and
That's
the
pretty
Clan.
good.
All right.
Shout out.
Yeah, that would be my favorite. And the other one would be, I guess, the look on the little girl's face. And I thought that was pretty funny.
You relate to that, Rich?
Yeah, that frustration, and I just want to go home and cry.
I think that might be a good segue, actually. Which one do we want to pick as the winner? How are you feeling, Travis?
I personally would vote for little girl crying with crayons as she's coloring in when you. I think that's my favorite. What about you?
That is good. I'll go with that as well. That was the one that made me genuinely laugh the hardest.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was Annabelle Jones.
All right, Annabelle.
By the way.
Congratulations. We'll be sending you some fun stuff. We'll figure out a way to get you a Sendoso package, maybe a drink of your choice or a dessert of your choice. All right. So, yeah, I think this segues nicely. So one of the things that we thought was cool to talk with you about, Dad, was rewinding the clock. 1996. I was 5 years old, and you were at the height of your sales career.
I agree with 5 years old, but the rest of it, I don't know.
And one thing that we found funny that I think will be interesting to a lot of people out here, because we have people that are of all ages that are tuning into this podcast, people that are in their 20s, that are millennials, people that are maybe your age, and I think
Boomers.
Yeah, the boomers are making an appearance. And one of the things that was interesting while listening to you, Dad, talk about your sales process back before LinkedIn existed, back before we had social selling, it was cold calling and in person. And Patrick made the comment, which was like, wow, 25 years have passed and not a whole lot has changed. It's like the biggest thing you're trying to do is get in front of the person.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's with a Zoom call, but back when you were selling life insurance and health insurance, it was like, just get me across the table, get me in person. And that was the deal.
That was the deal. That certainly was the deal. Just, I guess, quickly, a little background. I got into the insurance industry when I was 26 years old. And my first big job out of college, I was working for Allstate Insurance Company. And I was an insurance adjuster. And that's the guy you call when you get in a car accident or a tree falls on your house or something like that. And but I did corporate America for a long time, 25, 30 years. And one thing led to another, and I ended up working for a big insurance company whose home office was in Miami. And I'm from Miami, and so is Travis. And it's a fast-paced, eat or be eaten environment, and so you learn survival techniques and all those things. So one thing led to another, and I got out of the adjusting, and I got into the sales component of insurance, and I had an opportunity to work for myself as an agent. So I took advantage of that. And, what happened was I found out that I wasn't very good at it. And
Me too, by the way. So it must
that
be genetic.
that I didn't have the tools that I thought I had. And I ended up leaving this little small company I was working for, and I lucked into working for a bigger sales company and selling life insurance, health insurance, annuities, and I got lucky because I joined a successful agency that offered me the tools. It's all the stuff that you hear about or you're gonna learn in this profession of sales. And I know when I was working for that small company, they just hand you a lead list, and you didn't have to generate the lead list, but you certainly had to get on the phone, and you had a script you followed, and that's how it went. So I was fortunate with this new company that they had seminars on sales techniques. They taught you about active listening. I thought active listening was funny because they would say, I need you to practice 80-20, 80% listening, 20% talking. And I thought, for a guy like me, 50-50 might work. But 80-20 is not going to work. I talk too much.
You're going to fall asleep if you do 80-20.
And I learned that I talk too much. And that you don't have to sell the product if it's a decent product. And the first thing you learn also is you have to know the product inside and out, because you're going to be asked 100 questions. And if you're going to, show confidence in your approach to selling, you're going to have to know the product so you can discuss it. And,
Did you ever encounter anything that was kind of strange, or did you ever have like a really good or really bad experience?
Oh, sure.
selling insurance?
So I remember one time I was working this phone list. We didn't have LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We didn't have any of those tools, and the internet was just coming into just blooming in the late 90s. And so, there was a lot of legwork that was involved. So I'm working this lead list, and I recognized this name that I had called about a year ago, and I called the lady, and I went to see her. I made a sales call, and and I ended up selling her every employee she had. She had 15 employees, and they all bought health insurance, and I sold a couple life insurance policies. And I, when I sat with her, she refreshed my memory, and she said, "You called me a year or so ago," and she says, "I told you to go fly a kite. I didn't have time for you, and this was nonsense, and my insurance that I had currently was just fine." And she said, "I'm so glad I got to meet you, and that you came out here and took the time to explain the different types of products you were selling, and what would be most beneficial for me and my employees." And so that was a positive experience.
That's good.
I also had those experiences that didn't work so well, and you get back in the car and you think, God, if I could just shake some sense into that guy, he'd buy everything I'm selling. Rejection's part of the deal, and don't take it personal. You start to develop a little more thick skin, and you realize that it's not me and what I'm selling when it doesn't work. A lot of times it's 100 other factors, from timing to whatever. Maybe they can't afford the product you're selling, and so on. If I could share one more story.
Yeah. Go for it.
So in year 2000, internet craze, and everybody's getting on board. I'm presented with a nice business opportunity to get out of the insurance sales business. One of my people that I was mentoring and working with said, "Hey, I got a good idea, and I've got a business model that I think is going to work. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Well, what is that? Tell me about that." And he says, "We're going to sell computers, and we're going to sell used computers." And I thought, well, that's a wonderful opportunity. He said, "And here's our business model." He says, "We never have to meet the people. We always get paid in advance. And it's going to be easy. And we're going to run this through eBay." And I thought, wow, this is a good business opportunity. And we started crunching numbers, and we determined we could make some good money. We became a licensed reseller for Dell refurbished products. And I found in this new career I jumped into, it was a lot like my sales career. Don't talk too much. Just be me. Relax. Let the product sell itself. Use the buzzwords when I need to. Know the product well. Answer questions. Ask questions. And a lot of the techniques I learned from selling insurance, carried forth into my new career. And so that's kind of my story.
I like that, man. It's funny. I talk to every once in a while here at PandaDoc when there's a new hire. They have to go around and meet people from other departments. So I get to meet with new salespeople that join our team. And it's just like a greeting, how do we work together, the marketing and sales team or whatever. And you'd be surprised. Like I speak to a lot of them and I'm like, tell me about your dreams. Like, what do you want to do later in life? Because I'm curious about that too. And a lot of them are like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business. And I just hear that so much, that people do the sales grind for a little period of life and then they go and do something else. Like my man Patrick here, I know he's probably going to want to do a consulting career at some point. That right?
As soon as possible. Yeah. You kind of have a shelf life as a salesperson.
I think so.
It's weird.
Is it psychological and emotional?
Yeah, and there's some people that are built for it that will be career salespeople.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Paul on my team.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Nick, they're career salespeople, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I could see myself going back to it eventually, but I feel like you kind of have to dabble in other stuff too. Like if it's just sales all the way through, you might lose your mind.
Yeah, that's true. Well, any last thoughts, Rich Tyler, Mr. Hollywood?
Hollywood, a namesake only, maybe, but no, it's just it's you take the things you learn in life and you carry them forward, and I was very fortunate. Some things did go my way, and I had a good mentor, and I attended a lot of training seminars. I can tell you that. We would do role playing, and I just remember those days. And I remember watching some of the video from one of our role playings and thinking, my gosh, I wouldn't buy anything from me. I'm too jacked up. I need to sit back.
Why is he so sweaty?
That's what I think whenever I listen to my class.
Video training sessions can be beneficial, is what I learned. So
for sure. Well,
it's good to be part of. Thanks
so much, Dad, for coming on. Love you. Really glad that you and Patrick got to meet, and you're a really great guy. So I know I have lots more to learn from you. So I'll talk to you soon, right, Dad?
Thank you. Thanks, Travis. All right.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Rich. Rich Tyler exits stage left, flames in his wake. An electric guitar explodes in the background. A bar full of people claps.
And my mom looks at him and goes, "You're so stupid."
What's wonderful to us is normal for someone else. Love you, Rich.
That was fun. I was glad to have him on. We've got a couple minutes here. And then for those of you that are still tuning in, maybe got us going on in the background, you're doing other stuff in another tab. We've got the CRO of PandaDoc, Nate Gilmore, coming
How
in
lucky
just
are
a
we?
couple minutes. Man, what a fun conversation yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
we did a little prep call just so everybody was like, hey, what are we going to talk about? You know, what do we want to go over? And man, like,
That was fun.
it was.
I was fashionably late, like always. I came in. I was like, "What's up, Nate?" We got into this like intense discussion. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah.
He's so likable.
The thing that, and I almost like don't want to say it because like I want to jump into it. You know what? I'll save it. I'll save it for
Okay.
when he's here on the show. In the meantime, it's a good time to go use the restroom, go grab a drink,
Look right.
go pet your dog, go answer that Slack message, and we've got some cool stuff ahead. I hope I'm able to play these TikToks where he can hear them and we can hear them and the audience can hear them. That might be a little tricky. We'll see. We'll see.
I love that we didn't check.
I tried to check, but it's like the live show is a little different. Anyway, now you get the behind the scenes of how this all looks, people. If you want to start your own show.
I love it.
Yeah. But I mean, so far so good. Everyone
Oh,
seems to
yeah.
be enjoying themselves. People are excited to see some of these TikToks. I know I am. And let me make sure I've got them here. I can pull them up.
What's the right link to join, by the way? Because I think I got into the backstage
Where are you?
instead of the normal.
Why? Just go on to LinkedIn, bro.
That's where I got it from.
Oh my God.
They put me backstage.
Put you backstage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe message my boss. She sets these up.
Bethany, please help me.
When in doubt, just like defer and throw my boss under the bus. She loves when I do that.
No. I would never do that. Let me try this one.
All right, let me get this audio clip ready for everybody.
Yes, I'm ready to join. Travis, you are my new best friend, and you don't know it.
Oh,
So beautiful and kind.
while we're waiting, there was something else that I wanted to chat with you about. Let me pull it up here. So Justin Michael, our good friend, he made a post, and I wanted to get your take on it. Let's see, here it
I
is.
probably read it. He has these like crazy rambles
Oh
that he
my God, I
does.
love these.
Where I'm like, well, how did you write this?
God, I just want to like peer inside of his head sometimes.
Yeah,
Shout out
that'd be
Justin
helpful.
Michael. 20% of replies happen past step 12. 90% of reps never make it past the 8th touch. Most reps give up after touch 3. Why do we treat LinkedIn like it's a 2-touch game? We've heard the law of outbound, 5 to 12 touches from umpteen analyst firms and tech tool companies. I talk a lot about sports, block and tackle, da-da-da-da. So I was thinking about this with the little experiment that I'm going to be running. So like, in my head, I thought Haley and I are going to create one video for this person and send it to them. That's probably not a good strategy. We should
do you
probably
mean?
create multiple videos to send them. Or would that not be a good use of time? Should it be a video with a couple of other? So what she was thinking when we were talking, she was like, I'm going to build it into a cadence.
Okay.
So the video will just be one step in a multi-step cadence.
Okay.
And I was like, well, shit, should we create like 4 videos that go to each person
You could.
and just keep hitting them with videos?
If I was Justin,
Yeah. Like,
I would tell you that you need multi-channel.
right. We'd send it to them on email. We'd send it to them on LinkedIn. We'd also then call them. We'd also then.
Yeah, exactly. And not just do video, like text, images, video, voice.
All of it.
Yeah. One
Interesting.
thing gets lost.
All right. We got Nate Gilmore jumping in here. Nate, you are live. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. What up, Nate?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How's it going with you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm really excited for the show. I literally ended my last meeting with like, I gotta be somewhere, and I just closed and walked away. So I'm assuming I'm gonna have a Slack message coming back to me of like, should have told us. Where'd you go?
Nate, we had such a fun time doing our pre-call with you yesterday. I keep thinking about something that you said, and I just want to jump right into it, which is we were talking about like, especially people under the age of 30 and even older folks are sometimes wondering and struggling like, what is my purpose in life? They're working in sales, they're working in marketing, and a lot of times they're like, well, this isn't exactly what I dreamed up. Like I had other plans. And then you were like, you like, were like, listen, nobody knows what their purpose is. Okay. The purpose that I have figured out is to just be here and be in the moment. And I was like, whoa. And then from then on out, I tried to be so much more in the moment for the rest of the day. And I was like, every time I caught myself, I was like, this is my purpose right now, here in this moment. Whatever it is I was doing, like feeding my dog or sitting down watching a new Marvel show. And I was like, this right now is my purpose.
Watching some Lucky?
I was watching WandaVision.
Oh, you're behind.
You are behind.
My fiance is behind. She's a school teacher. She just got off on summer break. She's catching up. So we're watching it together. I already watched the whole series, to be clear.
Slight tangent. I remember in the office when I think it was Max was like, hey, who wants to go see Endgame? And Nate was like, me.
I'm a huge comic book fan. I bought my daughter her first comic book the other day, and she's 5.
Oh,
and so like there's not a really big difference between children's books and comic books. They all have images and they all have a lot of words. Yeah. But with comic books now, you need to learn how to follow the boxes, right? and so I'm probably ruining her for like real life, but I grew up learning to read on comic books and Marvel and all that. So yes, I'm big on. I was like, yes, let's go to Endgame ASAP. That's where I met Max for the first time. I've never actually met him. I was like, let's go.
The Thanos snap is Endgame, right?
No, it's Infinity War.
Damn, man, I don't know my Marvel. Anything. I know. I'm like, I really like it, but I'm really bad with specific details.
But isn't Endgame the third of Infinity Wars?
Yeah. Infinity War is the first part of a 2-parter.
You know who we need here? Jan. He would really know.
Obsessed.
He'd be like, let me correct all of you. Actually, here's the origin story and the prequel to that.
By the way, we're really off course right now.
Welcome to the Customer Engagement Lab, Nate.
So I'm gonna pull us back on course because like
every meeting.
Yes, this is my job, by the way. So like I was thinking about the conversation too. And I think like, especially for, young professionals, be willing to pull apart career, passion, and purpose. They're not all the same things to all people. And they evolve at different timelines, and you have multiple versions of them and all this. I'm actually doing this myself right now. For me, my career, I need to pull apart and like change and go, what is my career direction? What am I doing right now? And that's because PandaDoc is doing so well. It's like, okay, well, I need to learn a new role here at PandaDoc. I need to re-interview for the CRO role at our current revenue. And how do I do that? How do I engage myself? So I need to improve that. But I want to throw out to you guys, like, what if we split it up? Career, passion, purpose. And thought about it on those 3 different things. And like that allows people to think differently about it, maybe.
I like that. And I wonder, my immediate question is like, do you have to find like where I would normally get hung up on that is like, I need to find a career that checks all those boxes. And what I figured out, like, I don't know, 5 years after college was I don't need one thing to check all those boxes. I can check them in separate ways. Like I can have a hobby, right? I can have a passion project. But I need my job to at least check one of those boxes for me to at least show up every day for a year or more. That's me.
Same.
Yeah. And I'll just share that I didn't know, and I still struggle with the big one, like purpose. What's my purpose? I'm a very contemplative person. I like to meditate. I tend to, do you guys ever see that movie Cocktail with, like, it was a really old, like a Tom Cruise movie. He was trying to be a bartender, like the best bartender, but underneath his bar was always like a business book. If you opened up my Kindle or my backpack at any given time, you're probably going to find a journal, a book, like a spiritual studies book, and a business book. One is from contemplation. One is for like alignment of my heart and my mind to like purpose. And then the other is career and like, how do I become better for my team? And how do I learn more from all of the amazing professionals out there that I was just saying, I'm going to dip down and probably did something bad there, but like we were talking about, like, what's the last book I was reading? I'm like reading this one. I'm deep into The Qualified Sales Leader, right? Like, I love this book. It's been great, but why do I love it? Because a 5-time CRO is telling a first-time CRO how to be a CRO. It's way more enterprise, but like I want to learn that. I want to be a part of that journey as PandaDoc does that.
I like that. And if it's all right, I kind of want to pivot. Speaking of like being a CRO, I found it fascinating. And one of the things that we talked about yesterday, we love talking about with our guests, is how do you think people can be successful selling to CROs, getting CROs' attention? Like, the way you kind of broke that down yesterday was really cool to me. And I'd love for our audience to hear that too, if that's cool with you guys.
I'm all right with it.
Cool.
Patrick, how did I break it down? Like, I have it in my mind, but how did you hear it? I do that to you. You hate that, don't you?
I hate when you do that. My brain went empty the second.
I can help you. You want to help?
I can, like, let's co-do this. I can help. I can help if you need to.
I remember what I said.
Phone a friend. Phone a friend.
Where I was like, okay, it sounds like the way we're approaching executives is the same way we'd approach like a director or manager, which is like, here's an email or some sort of channel communication and then ask for a meeting. Where you were talking about with executives, you need to build more of a relationship first, especially if you're approaching on something like LinkedIn, where there's no hard ask and it's just like a conversation that you're starting. Mm-hmm. Does that seem accurate?
Mm-hmm. I think that was a piece of it. So I think, like, at the macro level, if we think about a 500-person company, and the lens that the C level is looking at the business is much different than the VP level, is much different than the director level, is much different than the individual contributor level. So you have to speak to the lens that they're thinking about it. And you can help bring awareness to the different lenses. So, for example, if a software company is prospecting into PandaDoc and they have a good conversation with one of our directors who's like, yes, this is a present priority, and here's how I'm looking at it, then you can bring that awareness to the VP. Say, hey, I just had this great conversation. How do you see this problem? Right? Is this a present priority for you? How do you look at this? Where does this fit in your priorities? And I think it's part of like I'm a big follower, like as we all are, on like a lot of prospecting methods on LinkedIn, and building relationships is also about helping the executive understand what's happening inside their team and why they like something, right? So you don't have to ask me anything, just make me aware. Hey, I had this great call. Here's what happened. Like, do you look at this problem the same way? I may not even respond, but I may take that message and forward it back and be like, hey, I wasn't aware of this problem. How big is this problem to you? Am I looking at the problems correctly inside the organization? Am I prioritized correctly? And they may go, yeah, it's a problem, but it's not one of the top 3 that we need to solve right now. I'm like, okay, great. Right? But then as the vendor coming in, boy, how important is that piece of knowledge to you? I'll pause there for a second and see if Patrick and Travis, like, if that's resonating with the pre-call.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stood out to me was when you talked about discovery of the problem across 5 different meetings with like 5 different people.
Oh yeah.
And even though you ended up getting rejected, it would have been a huge contract, but I think this goes hand in hand about like C-level conversations versus VP versus IC, and the way that all of those people look at the challenges of the organization are going to be different. So it's like I called it multi-threading on steroids kind of thing, but there's definitely a better way to phrase
I'll
that.
give the example then. So Josh, who's been on your podcast, or on our podcast, on the only podcast, the most important podcast. Josh called me. He's like, "You're being my SDR in this account." And I was like, "I am being your SDR in this account." What ended up happening is I talked to a VP at a pretty large company, huge company, and I was like, "Do you have this problem that we solve?" And his comment was, "Yeah, but I don't know how big it is. I don't know like whether it's important. I don't know this." So, well, let me talk to 3 or 4 people in your organization. I'll bring you back the information. That ended up turning into like 5 different calls. And then we met and I said, this is the size of the problem that they have. These are their concerns. This is what they want to do. This looks like a potential pilot to get to that kind of proof of value. And do you, the executive, find this to be a high enough priority for you now to want to do it? So the first thing was, he was like, this is great. Thank you for spending all this time on it. I'm so sorry. No, it's not the highest priority right now, but it is important. Here's when we can come back at it. But no, it's not. But ultimately, what we did is we built relationship with that professional. That was important, I think.
And that was another thing that we touched upon too, is this slow relationship building kind of methodology, right? Like you were telling us that you've had SDRs who've prospected you and they come in real hard, like out of the gate, and they have like a hard ask. And typically those are going to be the ones that you're like, this isn't in my top 3 priorities right now. So that's going to be a no from me. And which is fine. We talk about in sales, like a no is better than getting ignored, because then you can move on and prospect in another direction. But yeah, you want to talk a little bit more about this like slow relationship building and how that, staying top of mind and how that's more important in the long run?
Well, Patrick's feedback was also really good, because like we run an outbound SDR organization. We run an SDR organization, and like the lack of alignment between slow relationship building and hitting quota, and those things do not match. Mm-hmm. And so there's a middle. I think there's the middle path here, and that is, and it goes down to who is like, what are you selling? Who is the buyer? And like what level of relationship results in moving that prospect forward into proof of value, right? And so, so for me, if it's not a present priority, then like it's helpful for me to understand what's going on so that I can point this out if it becomes a priority in the future. But for revenue operations, for our go-to-market teams, directors and VPs, like they're going to be able to move faster on a pressing priority if it's a match right now. And so what you're trying to do in the prospecting is not only you're trying to find the problem, you're trying to weigh the importance of that problem against the different lenses in that business. It may be a huge problem for an IC, maybe calendaring and calendar invites and time to lead is a huge problem with the IC, the director, but the VP is like, okay, we've got a good enough solution. We need to tune it. We don't need to rip and replace, right? And so, and at my level, I'm assuming they've got that. I'll pause for a second.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I could see that we're missing on there is messaging to executives. Because something I try to teach to SDRs and A's that are prospecting is that the only time anybody really cares about what you have to say is if you're highlighting a problem that they didn't know about potentially, or if you're just striking on their highest priority, like you've mentioned.
Pain discovery.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Pain qualification.
Just stick to what's your highest priority, and they don't quite try to find things that they might not know about yet, which could become priority if discovered. It's just like, hey, here's 3 problems that people have. Do you have these? And that's good to find active projects. But if you're not asking questions like, how are your reps currently getting out proposals while they're on the call with their prospects, then you're not going to find problems they didn't even think about yet.
Correct. Right. And so that's the kind of question that I would pass and go, hey, Chad or Mike or Troy or Pavel, like, how big is this problem for you? And that's something the prospecting is not going to see. It's what's happening behind the scenes. And forwarding that question or slacking that question across and coming back and going, okay, do you want me to introduce you to somebody or not? And they may go, well, it's a big problem. Yeah, let's think about it. No, I don't want that intro right now. I can't deal with that right now.
I love that. I never thought of collecting feedback from other people and bringing it back up. That's something I'm going to have to try.
What do you mean? How would you try that, you think?
Well, he said that he had reached out to an executive. Was like, how about I talk to 4 people on your team and see what they think about the problem, the size of it, and then bring it back to you. I've never thought of doing that.
It's an amazing. So if you want to talk to a team, the email intro from the exec is the golden ticket. Right? Because nobody wants to come back on an email from somebody and go, yeah, I didn't think that was important enough to do. Like, it came from the exec of like asking a question. It's like, oh yeah, so let's answer that question. And the answer may be no back, and that's better, but at least the question's answered. So you want that golden ticket. The best thing I think you can get from C-level is like the referral down into the right party to go and prospect a problem more. And that is a great thing.
How do you ask for that intro, Nate?
So I think it has to do with like you just hit it. Like, how big is this problem in your organization? Can I incept to you that there may be a problem that you want to discover? Right. And then, yeah, I don't know if that's a problem. Well, can I find out? Who would I find out from in your organization? Can you just make the intro so I can talk to them? And oftentimes that's where you're going to find a coach or a champion inside the organization as well.
All right, let's end the show with some goofy stuff, if that's okay with everybody.
Goofy stuff. This is the thing I'm most worried about.
Put your worries aside, Nate. We got you.
We'll hold you. So Patrick and I, as part of our show, we usually we find some really good kind of like sales marketing TikToks that we share that we think are pretty funny and spark some good conversation. And we were like, why can't we create some of our own? Help promote the show, have a little fun here and there. And one of them went viral. And it has over 500,000 views, 50,000 likes, 800 comments. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to pull them up right now. Hopefully
in the era of COVID, this is the only part of viral you seem to like.
That's right, man.
Sorry, I just took that away from you.
That's the micro clip right there, Nate.
Have you ever been in love?
Let's see if this will play for us.
I don't think so.
1 sec.
Do you want me to describe it to you?
Am I supposed to see video?
Yeah, let's see if it'll work.
Have you ever been in love?
No
I don't
video.
think so.
All right, I've got another idea.
Yeah, probably the best.
Let's see if this one will work. Huh.
You got to share sound, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Nate, can you hear this one?
I cannot.
Okay. Let's see.
Worst case scenario, you pull your phone out.
Well, this is the one that has 500,000 views. I'll have to send it to you on a separate one. I think I've got too many audio and video interfaces. Let's see. Let me give it one more shot. Let me give him one more shot here.
So we didn't test this part. We should have done that yesterday.
We're focused on talking about our purpose too much and not about our TikToks, Nate.
Yeah, well, your purpose was to get this TikTok up.
So if that's not motivation, I don't know what it is.
Here, I've got a way to do it. Hold on. It's going to involve you being muted for a second.
Oh, no. What will the world do without me talking?
All right. Let's see. This should do it.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on.
Say again.
I don't think it showed the video.
Oh, well, two
next
thumbs
time we see
down.
you.
I'll have to share it to you in Slack. Sorry, Nate. All right, man.
I was right to be terrified about this part of the segment.
You got to hear that song though.
Did
That
you-
was
Yeah, it
like
was great.
the best part. You got to groove.
Great. How did you have that song and you didn't have my cocktail reference down?
All right.
Dude, our MPS.
No, we didn't.
I think when you post this, you'll be cutting this entire part.
Hey, some people that are live could see it. I just think because you're calling, I don't think you could see it, but some people are commenting congratulations on it. So
Oh, word.
we'll share it. We'll make sure to tag you so you get embarrassed, Nate. But I think you'll appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, my friend. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having.
All right. That wraps up the Customer Engagement Lab Live. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be sure to post links to our TikToks in this so you guys can go check those out and follow us. Patrick, I love you. Thank you for coming on today, buddy. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next Friday with a brand new episode where we interviewed Mark Young from Dooley. So
Wow.
can't wait for that episode to come out. And have a great Friday. Have a great weekend.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you all soon.
Call your friends. Tell them you love them. Bye.
Bye, everyone.